Hello! Today I'm going to be showing you my newest project, which is an everyday walking skirt adapted for my personal history-bounding wardrobe. It is my first big outerwear piece, so I am really excited. The pattern for this skirt originally came from the Keystone jacket and dress cutter. However, if you saw my petticoat / mock-up video, you will know that I changed it to my own taste, which is why it is more on the history-bounding side than the actual historical accuracy side. The material for this skirt is a woven cotton. It was sold to me as 100% cotton. I have not tested it, so I'm not sure. But it is a nice woven check or plaid fabric. After cutting a small tester to check for shrinkage and to check the different colors of chalk I might want to use, I zigzagged the cut edges of the fabric, which was about 4 meters of fabric in total, and then I washed it. Here's the plan for this skirt. I originally wanted to do what I've done so far, which is have at least 1/2 of each seam on the straight grain in order to prevent stretching of the seams. However, with this particular fabric, I quickly discovered that I didn't really like how it looked on the straight grain. So I didn't cut it out on the straight grain. I cut it out how I wanted it to look, which was completely on the bias, or at least very much not on the straight grain. And I decided to just accept any stretching that would happen and hang the skirt for a number of days before hemming it and hope that it would turn out great either way. So here's the plan for how I want the pattern to go on the skirt itself. As a quick note, I chose not to line the skirt because I want to be able to wear it in as many different situations as possible. For example, I want to wear it in spring, in summer, maybe even in winter. I'm not that experienced with how warm I can get it to be with a lot of layers under it, so I'll have to experiment. But in essence, I wanted it to be as versatile as possible depending on what I wear it with, and that is why I chose not to line it. So while cutting the pieces, here's how I pattern matched everything. I folded the previous piece on the final seam line and lined that up with the next pattern piece and then drew my chalk line in between those two. It is not a perfect method and you end up working from the outside or right side of your garment, but it's how I did it anyway. Because I really wanted the pattern matching to be as good as possible, I put a lot of effort into pinning the pieces together and then basting them by hand with a running stitch before sewing the pieces together by machine. It still isn't perfect, but it's pretty good, especially from a few feet away. I sewed the pieces together by machine because I wanted to be able to wash the skirt if needed. After sewing the pieces together, I removed the red basting thread and folded over and felled the seam allowances. This time I quickly realized I had to be very careful to pick up only black threads wherever possible, or the basting would look like this from the outside instead of this. It is, like always, high time for the almighty pockets. I used my favorite huge 1898 pocket pattern by Bertha Banner. Because I wanted to insert the pockets the modern way this time, I made 4 half pocket pieces with facings at the top cut from some cabbage. I then attached the pockets into the side seam by machine, as seen here from the outside of the skirt. Sewed the pocket itself together by sewing all around the edge. I chose to finish the pockets by hand, by felling and also overcasting in a few spots. For the waistband, I wanted to try the Victorian method of making and attaching waistbands, as explained by Kathy Hay in a recent video. So I used a length of twill tape, cut it down to width, and covered it with a piece of the skirt fabric by felling it down onto the inside. Then I felled on the waistband from the outside of the skirt like such. This way, the seam allowance from the top of the skirt is not trapped inside the waistband, and so bulk around the waist is reduced. For the closures, I added 2 pairs of hooks and eyes at the center back. Finally, I leveled the hem after hanging the skirt and letting all the seams stretch for a couple of days. I first quickly felled down the skirt fabric itself and then bound the hem in the same black twill tape from the waistband, though now at full width. And with that, she's done. I am so happy with it. It's not perfect, but it's a very on brand, it's a very me garment, and that feels really, really, really good to have. It fits me perfectly, it has the huge pockets I like. It's just an awesome feeling, really. I'm going to practice wearing it at home because surprisingly, wearing something that you made in large part by hand is kind of intimidating in the beginning, at least wearing it outside the house. So I'm going to start by practicing wearing it at home. I'm sure with time I will happily wear it wherever and it'll be lovely. I'm sure. I love it so much. With that, I would like to thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed watching my project, and I shall see you next time.